The hosts of MSNBC's Morning Joe Scarborough, and Mika Brzezinski are now looking for access to the incoming Trump White House.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
Oh, wow, would you look at that? People in proximity to power now want access to that power. Shocker. Who could have seen this one coming? Except for everyone. Unless, of course, you're a regular Morning Joe viewer, then maybe you didn't see this one coming. That I say, well, I mean, sucks to wake up to that reality, but at least now it's there. You can rip the Band-Aid off and stop watching them. Okay. Understand, though, that people like Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski and a lot of the other members of establishment media, cable news, they are like moths to the flame. They are attracted to power, to access. All right. Donald Trump is now that power. And his election results show that this time, unlike last time, it is not a fluke. Okay, Donald Trump swept the swing states. All right. He won the popular vote by about 2.6 million votes. Okay, so no doubt that, yes, people chose him to be president. As much as I don't like that fact, it's a fact. Okay, so a win is a win. Power is power. Okay, and there are people who are going to cozy up with that power. Okay, and the same people, by the way, the people that are cozying up to power, are the same ones who criticized Donald Trump. And now you see that they're like, you know what? Maybe he's not so bad after all. Let's start talking again. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, we may have called him a fascist because he is. And, you know, he attacked my facelift, Mika Brzezinski, you know, and it went badly, and I was bleeding all over my face. Or saying things like Joe Scarborough had murdered an intern. But, you know, we're all past that now. And maybe it's time we just get together and get to work.
As somebody close to Donald Trump told me this past weekend, this is a president who's not seeking re-election, so maybe, just maybe, now could be the time for both parties to get to work. So I don't know. Seems to make sense for leaders of both parties to seek common ground, if it's possible at all.
I mean, we got to seek common ground. You know, we got to get back to work. I mean, taxes for the rich aren't going to cut themselves. See? We already have common ground. It turns out that the donors that are funding the Democratic Party and the donors that are funding the Republican Party, they're the same donors and they want the same things. Wow, tax cuts and deregulation. And you know what? You know what else that they have in common? Wokeness. They hate wokeness and trans people. That's right. In fact, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski already blamed them for Kamala's loss. Not only that, but you had numerous New York Times opinion writers, the people at the Atlantic saying, oh my God, the Kamala Harris went too left on woke issues. Oh my God. Despite the fact that she actually ran the kind of dream campaign the establishment has always wanted, running on freedom and democracy and, oh, look, our military is incredibly strong. It's very, very lethal. And I'm going to be very tough on the border. Donald Trump was not tough enough on the border. I'm going to be tougher. She had the most tepid defenses of trans rights and spent the majority of her campaign, especially the end portion of it, which was a short campaign, running around with Liz Cheney and Republicans, saying, I'm going to put Republicans in my cabinet. Oh, really? Then why not just vote for Republicans? I mean, if you're going to run as diet Republican, why aren't people just going to pick the Republican? Oh, because it's Trump, because he's a unique danger. No, the danger is the establishment. The danger is the system that creates people like Donald Trump and then makes them electable. That's the real danger, all right? So Kamala Harris ran to the right, and guess what? She lost the left. Wow, shocker. Generally, that's what happens, but they never seem to understand that because guess what? Their paychecks, and I'm talking about the Democratic consultants here, their paychecks depend on never understanding that. So that's the reality, all right? Now, to be fair, of course, to Mika and Joe Scarborough, maybe they're thinking, you know, let's get back to Donald Trump, okay, and cozy up, because he has already threatened to go after journalists. He has threatened to go after us with retribution, you know, for saying negative things about him. So maybe this is just them trying to save their own ass. Well, good for them. The message is the same, though. It's the same. All right. That said, Joe, he's got to come out and say, you know, look, I know we're cozying up to Donald Trump, but trust me, we're going to hold him accountable.
Don't be mistaken. We're not here to defend or normalize Donald Trump. We're here to report on him and to hopefully provide you insights that are going to better equip all of us in understanding these deeply unsettling times. And I am reminded of what Marty Baron, legendary editor, told his Washington Post reporters back in the first term. We're not going to war. We're going to work.
We're going to work, everybody. We're just going to work. Cozying up with the people in power, because that's what we do. That's all we do in Washington is cozy up to the people in power for access. Well, all right, great. At least you're being honest about it, huh? I'm speaking about normalization, the normalization of Donald Trump. It's already too late. He's already been normalized. The mainstream media sane-washed him for this entire campaign. The political establishment sane-washed him. Because it turns out, okay, despite what they were saying, he's not really a threat to them. He's not really a threat to the establishment. They don't see it that way. No. Just like in his first term, what he's going to do are things that benefit the establishment. He's going to cut taxes on the rich and big corporations. All right? He's going to cut the government. He's going to kill regulations. All right? He's going to... And by the way, the establishment loves all of those things. All right? They got very, very rich during Trump's first term. They're going to get very, very rich this time as well. While he destroys everything else. Well, he destroys things that actually help average people. All right? I think blaming the election on wokeness as they did is a way to distract the audience, who are Washington insiders anyway, because you see the Washington consensus opinion is about, oh, the Democrats, they went too left, they went too woke. And no, the very same insiders who watch Morning Joe and are putting out that message are the reason that Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump in the first place. Okay? And so they all watch, all right? So he knows his audience. He knows his audience. Now, Joe Biden, by the way, remember, Morning Joe is Joe Biden's favorite show. So there you go. I mean, that's it. That's it. So not only is Morning Joe sucking up to power when it comes to Donald Trump, he's also doing the other thing that they love to do, which is punch left. Because that's all they do. Punching left serves power. It serves capital. It serves the donors. Now, the final piece to this, of course, his turn is ratings. Cable news is dying, all right? Cable news, old people watch cable news, right? They have a much older audience, and this is not being disparaging to older people. It's just older people tend to watch cable news. Younger people don't. What's the demographic that swung to Trump? Young Gen Z men, 49% to 47%. All right? They swung to Trump because they're not watching cable news. They're watching younger influencers. They're watching the manosphere. Okay? Donald Trump went to all those places, and he actually had a message for them. It's the wrong message, but he had a message. Democrats, not so much. Don't really have a message for young men. Okay? Not an economic one, because of all the problems that are facing young men today, a lot of it has to do with economic issues, right? Young men not being able to go to college, not being able to hold a home, not being able to work and make enough money to live, just like everybody else. Trump spoke to those issues, okay? Or at least the Democrats didn't, all right? Donald Trump spoke to a lot of different things. But a lot of people seem to trust him on these economic issues. So, now, that said, cable news, disastrous. Since the election, primetime viewership on MSNBC has cratered. All right, losing 53% since October. But you know who gained? Fox News. Fox News gained 21%. So it's not just cable news that is failing. You also have Fox News and right-wing media ascending. And it's because a lot of it has to do with the Democratic Party hating progressive independent media, choosing to do everything on mainstream media, on legacy media, which they do that because they can control the message, all right? And that message is, everything's great, the establishment is awesome, you're doing fantastic, so shut up and vote for Democrats, who are not actually representing you, who are representing corporate interests. So there's that, all right? Now, the result of this, too, is you can see MSNBC lurching right. They're going to lurch right, they're going to suck up to power because it's what they've always done. And now they're saying the orange man bad on segments on MSNBC are not drawing viewers. And that's true, largely true, okay? And the thing is, though, is that they're not actually going to talk about systemic issues, right? Look, I've said this before, as bad as Donald Trump is, he is a symptom of a larger issue, right? That larger issue being the status quo not working for so many people, all right? That's going to be ignored by cable news pundits. We've already seen that, okay? Establishment politicians, okay? Because at the end of the day, being the status quo is how they got rich in the first place. So they're not going to talk about that. Now they're going to focus on how the left is too progressive, how wokeness is bad and we need to throw trans people under the bus, okay? All that stuff. And they're going to ignore the real economic issues that have been facing young people and middle-class people and working-class people. Lack of healthcare, lack of housing, lack of affordability, okay? Of, groceries and energy and cars and homes and all this stuff that is driven largely by either government mismanagement or corporate greed. They're not going to address these issues because they're not actually interested in solving them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.